My name is Chelsea, and welcome to my hangout spot. I have multiple sclerosis, and I'm actually on my way into a relapse. Now, if you don't know what a relapse is, it's where either you're having issues with your medication, or you've had some kind of stressful event that triggers your lesions in your brain, which I have a lot of those. And it makes your MS flare up, which is a relapse. There's a lot more scientific things behind it. I just don't know all of them right now. I've been feeling it come on for a couple days. I knew it was coming. I was just hoping that my doctors would be a little more proactive to get me going back with my new infusions. I've been on Tysabri for over 2 years, and it's worked just fine. I mean, I've had relapses while on it, but only because I've had a lot of traumatic situations come up the last, like, 2 years. I've had, I think it's my 4th relapse. I can't remember. Anyways, so let me kind of explain to you how my relapses go. My memory gets really bad. I get slurred or slow speech, or both. I get really woozy, and I get really high. And I like the good fun high, the really miserable kind that makes you feel like crap high. And I can't drive. If I do, not very far, but I probably won't be driving the next couple days. Friday, I only remember half of the day, and I have empty spots like Saturday and Sunday and Monday, and today's Tuesday. I have empty spots like where I know there was a day, if that makes sense. Yeah, if that makes sense. I just don't always remember the entire day. For example, Friday, I don't remember what happened Friday. Crap, what happened Friday? I remember I did stuff on Friday, but I also don't remember half of the day. When Saturday came around, I couldn't find my keys, which isn't anything new. My husband asked me, I called him because even though he's gone, because he's a trucker, if you don't know that, he usually knows where I put stuff. My MS puts things, when I lose stuff, it's usually in the same spot. It's usually relatively consistent. So hold on. I'm very predictable, within reason, and they weren't in any of my spots. I usually put them when I lose stuff. So he's like, did you leave them at your mom's? I'm like, I don't think I went to my mom's Friday. And he's like, okay, you know. I'm like, well, I'll just call my mom just in case. Yeah, they were there. You know, they were there. And I remember it all. I remember going over there. Apparently I went and played with the boys, my nephews, and I don't remember any of it, you know. And I'm missing conversations. And when we have conversations, like, it's just frustrating. It's very frustrating when you're missing spots out of your life, you know. It's like, you existed, right? And you know that you've done things and you don't remember what they are, you know. And you miss important conversations. Anyways. So, what happens from here is tomorrow I'm going to call the doctors again. Well, I'm going to call the doctors. So I was going to call them Monday, and I kept meaning to, and then I kept forgetting, and then I was going to call them today, but I went up to Salt Lake County with a friend, and I just never got to it. But it hadn't really hit. I knew it was coming, but I don't like to do anything about it until it hits like this, to where it hits like this. So tomorrow, well, I guess today it's early in the morning. So tomorrow I'm gonna call my neurologist, and they're gonna get me on methotrexate, not methotrexate. Oh, it's a steroid. No, Meprazole, that's an anti-inflammatory. No, it's not. That's an acid for your stomach. I don't know what it's called, you guys. I can't think of it. I always have a hard time remembering this one. Anyways, this is really strong steroid that you get an infusion for, and it's like a 3 to 5 day infusion. My first infusion was it was 5 days, and it was awful. Like, you feel so miserable, and everything tastes terrible, and it's just crappy. So I'm not looking forward to it, but it stops the relapse, and that's what's important. And oh, I forgot to finish that thought. So yeah, I was on Tysabri, and then I'm getting on Ocrevix. It's a every 6 months infusion. Well, the first month is like twice, like one part 1 week and one part the other week, and then from that point on every 6 months, which I'd really prefer over the Tysabri. And the reason why is because the Tysabri, you have to be tested for the JC virus or JCV test or whatever. I remember the whole name of it, but it's a virus that a lot of people have, but it doesn't affect you unless you have Tysabri, unless you're on Tysabri, then it can actually kill your brain. So it's kind of a big deal. But because of a series of events, people didn't do their jobs. Like, several people didn't do their jobs, and it set me back, and it set me back a couple times, like, so I was actually just preparing. So I knew if they didn't get me on time with this new stuff, I knew this was gonna happen, you know, and it's very aggravating when it can be prevented. but people don't know how to follow through with their job because sometimes they forget that this is someone's life. Like, this is, if you're in the medical field, you need to remember, like, this is what happens when things aren't followed through. You know, not, I mean, some people it's, whether, I'm just talking about multiple sclerosis and not anything else, okay? Anyways, but this is what happens. And yeah, people's lives. Anyways, I need to go to bed. It's early today. It's early still. Like, it's not that late. It's like, it's like 9:30. Anyways, if you have multiple sclerosis, I'm so sorry. If you have something else that's crappy, I'm so sorry. It sucks. And if you don't have it and you're trying to learn and understand it, I applaud you. And if you have someone you love who has this horrible thing, I'm sorry. And be patient with them and understanding. And if they can't get things done, it truly is not their fault. It's something they have no control over. And one thing with multiple sclerosis too is it's such a freaking snowflake disease where it affects everybody so different. And like, my version of my MS is not the same as other people's. Some people aren't really affected by multiple sclerosis. You know, they still can do normal things. They can still have jobs. They can still function in society. And then there's some people who are and then some people are like in my position where some days they look like they're doing okay and they look like they're functioning and they look like they're not dealing with anything, but they are. They just know how to cover it. And I'm really good at that. And then there's some people that are way worse off than me. Way worse off than me. In fact, there was a gentleman at my father's nursing home. He was his roommate, and he had multiple sclerosis, and he was really far along. He was like in his 40s, which is not that far from me. Like, but I know people that are my age, and they're in this position where he's completely debilitated. You know, he was still there mentally, but physically, he wasn't capable of clear speech or ability to move by himself or do anything. He was strictly wheelchair bound. He had to be transported by other people, and he had an electric wheelchair. It was a big wake-up call. And so one day I went in there, I'm like, okay, I have multiple sclerosis. Can I have real talk with you? And we talked for hours about, you know, how he got there and what happened. And for him, it happened overnight. You know, I have at least a warning of mine. I have 3 more years until I lose my legs. And I can't believe it's been 2 years already. When I got diagnosed, they told me I had about 5 years left to, like, for me to use my legs. Now, they do have stem cell stuff for this, but it's so expensive. Like, yes, it's worth it, but if you don't have the money, it doesn't matter how worth it is. If you have the money, you have the money. It is what it is, kind of thing. And it's okay. You know, I'm really fortunate where I have a warning, so I can prepare for it. And some people, they don't get a warning. They just, bam, they can't use their legs or their arms. They can't talk anymore. They can't function at all, you know. And I at least have a warning of mine. Anyways. But I learned a lot from him, and he was a good man, and he ended up transferring somewhere else. And I was kind of sad about it, because I'd go in and see my father, and then I'd go talk to him, and, like, we'd do MS talk, and then he'd tell me about his life, and what he would do, and how his family helped him. But you can only do so much as family. Like, it's mentally and physically exhausting to take care of somebody, whether they're in my position or worse. It's exhausting, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And his family did the best they could for a long time. But he decided to be put into a home, because he knows it's hard, and, I don't know what I would do in that position. I have no idea what I would do. Because I'm afraid I might be there one of these days. Crap. I try not to think about it, because it's a what if situation, and there's no point crying about what if. But you still do, though. I'm only 31. I want children. I hate being a mom. Now, like, I'm not at the point where I can't take care of kids. I can take care of teenagers. I can't take care of little kids. I know that. But I do good as long as my doctors stay on top of things. Like, if that makes any sense at all. Like, this relapse is strictly my doctors and nurses. Like, they're good people, don't get me wrong. I love them. My other relapses were under extreme stress, really drastic situations, and so like, each relapse, I know when it was over. And this time I haven't really had anything huge to cause issues. I had a little bit I had a lot of stress this weekend, but not like relapse worthy, if that makes sense. And so I know this is basically essentially doctor induced, or medical people induced. So anyways, I need to go to bed. I hope that if you have this, you find the right treatment. You have doctors and nurses who are on top of it, and I hope that you have a supportive family, because I know that's so important. I couldn't do it without my family. I couldn't. My husband's supportive, my mom's supportive, my nephews are supportive, my brother's supportive, my sister-in-law's supportive, my friends are amazing and they're supportive, They listen to my woes and my concerns, my frustrations, and they deal with me being unreliable and inconsistent. And I appreciate that more than they even understand. Because I know there's people out there that don't have that, and that breaks my heart for them. I couldn't imagine not having the people in my life to help me. Now, I know I keep saying I'm gonna go, but I'm not. Just to explain to you how I was pre-MS, I worked in the medical field, and I worked in real estate, and each job is physically, mentally, emotionally demanding. Yes, real estate is physically, mentally, and emotionally demanding. And each one of those jobs, I worked like 60 to 100 hours a week, 100 hours a week. You know, I've always been a really hard worker, and and I worked until I couldn't, kind of thing. An eyelash in my eye. I worked as long as I could. I got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. I was recording all my conversations so I can go back and remember what I need to do for my job. But then I was having just so many issues. I mean, I was like this a lot, which isn't good for work, and it's not fair to the employers. It wasn't fair to me. It wasn't fair to my husband, because when you have MS, you have to be so sparing and careful with your energy and where you spend it. And so I spend all my energy at work, and then I wouldn't have anything left for him. I wouldn't have any left to make dinner or clean or, spend time together. Anyways, it's like I said. One thing, too, is I had 2 examples in my life of men that were disabled. I had one example where he worked hard. He had post-polio and like a slew of other health issues. And he worked hard when he could. And he was stubborn, but amazing, funny, and giving. And he'd give the shirt off his back to you. And he was awesome. And he was a really good example of it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't give you an excuse to be a jerk. It doesn't give me an excuse to be lazy, And mind you, there's a difference between lazy and being unable to do something, or unable to do something because you have something that prevents you from doing it. Anyways, and then my other example, he chose to be bitter, and instead of reinventing himself with his newly found disabilities, he became the disability. That was his, hi, I'm Joe Schmo. I have ankylosing spondylitis and diabetes, and I don't have diabetes, but like him. Like all these different things. Like he became his disease. That was his identity. And he didn't know how to move past it. And because of that, he became a really bitter, angry man that no one wants to be around anymore. And so I had those 2 examples. And so I've chosen the first example to try to be like, where I do the best I can when I can, and I'm always getting in trouble when I have good days. I push myself. That's because I know whether I do something or I don't do something, it puts me down, and I have no control over it. Trust me, if I had control over it, I would not be on here. I would not be talking to you guys. I hope this reaches the right people, the right people who will understand and who will, and I know this is a long video, who will relate to this. Whether it's MS or whatever else, they're all crappy. And they're all shitty. That's just the best word. They're just shitty. And it's just, you have to decide on how you want to be. I'm Chelsea. I am a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a wife. I have lots of talents. I'm smart most days. have goals and aspirations, and I will be damned that something stupid like this is going to stop me from getting to them. To the best of my ability, that's of course. I say that. I'm not going to let something get in my way, but I will do the best I can to the ability that I can. And that's all that you can do. And if you have something, whether it's depression or anxiety or MS or lupus or migraines or, you know, whatever you deal with, just do the best you can with what you have. Everything it is what it is. You know, instead of holding on to the crap in your life and just really just bracing yourself and just putting your feet in the ground, just, you know, making that who you are. Look past it. Remember who you are. And if you can't do what you used to be able to do, that's okay. So now, give yourself the opportunity to learn a new version of you. Find new ways of dealing with things. Find it's possible, and I'm hoping you're understanding what I'm saying. Find new ways of dealing with things, and find new abilities that you have, you know, and don't beat yourself up. That's one problem I have, is I beat myself up a lot. You know, it's like, why don't you just do it? Just, you know, and then you have to learn your limits. I'm not great at it, but I try really, really hard. I'm just stubborn. My husband says I'm stupid stubborn. But that's just his opinion, right? My husband says I'm stupid stubborn. And sometimes he's not wrong. Most of the time he is, but sometimes he's not wrong. Anyways, okay. For like the third time, I'm gonna go to bed. I hope you guys are having a great day. And remember that own your shit. Own your actions. And if you have something that, like MS, can throw your emotions out of whack, when I get really emotional, my mom's like, okay, when's your next infusion? It's like, oh, I need to check myself. You know, be an example of what you would want to see. I'm not great at it, but I try. And that's the best you could do. It's just do the best you can. And not a half-assed doing the best you can the entire way. So, anyways. Okay. Bye.